The ends of these logs here, like the one right above the camera, I had to figure out the angle for the roof coming down. That's the last thing that the last piece will be resting on. So now I got to get that bad boy and that giant bad boy cut like this, and if it works out right, then that'll be the last thing the sheathing rests on. This might give a different angle. Okay, so I've cut this one and it turned out pretty good. I've got to change my plan for the day. I started off building this little platform to bring up the big sheets to start on the first part of the roof, the sheathing. And then I realized I really have to have one more purlin at the farthest end. I could do it with 2x4s or 2x6s. It just wouldn't be as cool. So I got to stop what I'm doing. I got up to the ridge pole and put a 12-foot 2x4 on each end, dead center. So that tells me where the end of the roof line will be. Then I'm going to snap a string on it, and then I've got a notch into these big boys on both ends and in the middle, and lay another purloin in. And I'll make it in a little bit shorter than what these are, so you'll see it, but it'll have a little hangover from the roof, overhang. So, minor setback, but for a good reason. Again, I've never done this before. This is a view from the outside. So, what I'm talking about is you can see that small purlin, that's the last one. Now we're going to put one 2 feet or 20 inches down from that. But I've got to now cut those flush and just make a notch in them, in each one of them, that will hold a purloin in it. I think you'll see what I mean later. There's the end of the 2x4. That tells you where the roof line will be. So we'll be going back a couple inches from that and notching in a place to put a new 24-foot purloin. Haven't figured out how I'm going to hold it up there, but I'll worry about that later in the day. But I've got room to notch it in. That's the good news, and it's the right thing to do. All right, that's it for today. This is going to be short. The black flies are coming out because it's starting to feel like it's going to storm. I'm staying, I don't care. I got to get this done. I've got these two notched. I've got to notch one where I'm standing. The 2x4s are there to act as guides. I had to make them. In other words, they're like a fake roof right now. So the logs have to be under that roof line and yet holding it up. So I just notched those two. That took a while. You're hanging in the air. There's nothing to stand on. It's ladder work. It's scary stuff. All done and looking good, I hope. Next is to get this puppy off of the ground and up in the air somehow and lay it in there. See if I made the notches right. I'm going to see if I can walk this up the ladder and somehow get it over that middle log. You usually don't have 3 things you got to put it on. Usually it's 2. So I don't know how that's going to work. know if this is something you're supposed to do, but and again, probably a lot of this isn't stuff you're supposed to do. Come on, get up there. Yeah, baby. Fit in there. Woo! The two are notched, and the notches worked. I sat it in there, and she'll fit, and the boards come down, and it's flush with the roof line. So now I'm going to seal it, hopefully before it rains. It's my next step. So that took the better part of the day, and I got to measure it so that this extends evenly with all those other ones. I've been working on getting the 6th purloin on the east wall. It's sitting up in the air now, but the notches are cut in all the positions. It's all tarred in. Tomorrow I'll go up and bolt it into place. It's raining on and off, so I don't want to be on those slick logs too much. I'm going to have to be a little bit, because again, you can't just not work because it's bad out. I've got to get now in between there and take this 12-footer up, mount it on the ridge pole, and find out where the end of the roof will actually stop when it's hanging over the wall. This is the west side. I've got to mark where the last support will come on this wall, the 6th one. It'll be on the outside of the wall. So I've got to figure out where to notch that giant log down there and cut off the excess. Then go to the 2nd support, notch it. That'll hold it up in the center. And then go to the one above me and notch it, and that'll be the end. And the hard part's going to be getting the log here from 300 feet away, because I left my winch in Antioch. Alright, that's my day, and it's starting to rain. Just got a bad feeling. Those aren't clouds. Actually, you should be seeing the blue water of the lake all through there. That's the top. I don't know what that's the top of. It could be the top of the shoreline. The fog won't stay within 50 feet or so of the shoreline, but that's where it stops and then becomes solid fog, and I have to go several miles across in a specific way to avoid rocks and islands. Unfortunately, I left my knapsack with my compass. Again, it happens. It's stupid on my part. I should have one here and one there, but I don't. So I think I'm going to have to leave early today and just try to get back going so slow that I couldn't hurt myself if I miscalculate. That's the safest thing to do, and according to the one radio station I was able to get for a while, there's a storm coming in. Got to get this log up to the cabin. This one's just too heavy to lift, and my winch is in Antioch. What I just did was to tie a rope to the end of the eye hook that I used to drag these logs to the site. By doing that, I could tie this rope to a tree back in the woods so that when I cut off this 7-foot length, which is 10, 12 inches thick, it won't fall towards me and the chainsaw and the ladder and knock us down. It'll fall straight down. And doing this side of the last support purlin has been a nightmare. There's trees in the way over here, stumps. There's 2 supports, so it's 4 cuts to make it line up, and the only and last purlin I have left is roughly twice as heavy as the one on the other side. So it's going to be a trick just to get it up in the air and get it resting. I'm going to work on that later. And yesterday I had to take off the entire temporary roof, which took me half a day to put up, so I could get at these things and make the right measurements. So today I start cutting all 4 notches and hope I can get the log up off the ground, up 12 feet to the roof. That's my plan. I've come up with a different idea. Could be safer. I'm going to go up, climb on the back side, cut this log from up there. It's a little more acrobatics, but it takes me out of the zone of the log dropping. So that's what I plan on doing now. I hope this is recording because there won't be 2 takes on this. Okay. Glad I changed the plan. All right. Whew, this mosquito netting, just a little hint. It's not bad for the black flies, but it's excellent for the sawdust in the face, down your shirt, and in your eyes. So I learned that trick by accident. It's a good trick. All right, gotta get down. That's a better view of the piece of log that came down. Glad that's down. So now I've got to work on notching this end, and then that second support, then the third support, and then the end, and again make them all line up with the line of the end 2x4 there perfectly with the roof line. I'll lower that guy and use him as a guide when I get in the middle. And I've got this one as a guide at this end. So that's my day, cutting 4 notches that'll all line up perfectly, and then that 24-foot log I have to get up in the air and notch it into those 4 notches. That's my day. Everything went well on the removal of the end of this giant piece. That's the actual size of the piece that came off. Now I've got to follow these marks, notch this end of the cabin, move over to the support. The first one at 6 feet, notch that, move over 12 feet to the other one, notch that, move over to the end one, cut off that long length, and notch that. And then, somehow, I haven't figured it out yet, I'm going to get that log up in the air. Like I said earlier, I did not bring my winch. So it's going to be Egyptian again. Ropes, and I think I have a pulley stashed somewhere. All right, so it's looking good, moving along. This is a little scary doing this stuff.